Okay, welcome to the wire video on how to do process on your wire. So first of all, you should have drawn 3 mandalas or mandalas. And those mandalas should be somewhat simplistic. So I've seen a couple of really cool mandalas, but they're going to be super hard to do in wire. So you might have to modify yours in the final. This one here that I drew, this one was the second one that I did. This one here, you'll notice, is a little bit more, it's got some smaller pieces in it. That's going to be super difficult to bend really small in wire without a needle nose pliers. So if you have a needle nose pliers, you can do these small bends, but if you don't, I would simplify it down to something that's not so small. And here's what you need to do. You need to think about this project. So right now, this one here that I have has some lines in it, and then it has it's got some silver wire that's here, and then it's got some purple wire, and then it's got some yellow wire. All of this extra stuff here is just guidelines. So if you wanted, you could erase it, but it's not really all that important. So the first thing that I would do is I would start where you maybe start analyzing what you can do in sections. So when I first started this, I did kind of this section here as a figure 8. So this is what that looks like, okay? And then I wanted to do, another piece that, so I did, this piece and then this piece. I have both of those done. Would I do it like that again? I'm not sure. So what I would do is I would analyze some of your wire here. So what could you do in one piece, okay? What could you make as one continuous piece and then just connect it together with small pieces? So there's kind of, the little piece in the center is where I sort of wrapped it. Now, this project gets somewhat difficult, like I said, if you have small pieces. So I would try and make mine as big as I could. The other thing you might want to think about is, do you need these kind of extra pieces on the end? I don't know what I'm going to do with mine, but we'll kind of get there when we get there. I gave you 5 yards of each one of these colors. So you're going to run out of some colors, so don't expect to do your whole project in one color. One of the things that you can do, especially with this one, is that there's 2 greens, so you could, do green. There's 2 browns, and then the other colors are kind of hit or miss. I mean, you could put the pink and the red together. That's up to you. I did run out of, I did both of my pieces in silver, and I actually ran out and I had to use a little bit of this wire, but you don't have that, so I would kind of plan accordingly. Now, what did I do when I did this? So when I went through here, I actually cut pieces that were as long as the figure 8 here. And would I do that again? Maybe. I might actually do 2 pieces that were connected together. It's up to you what you want to do, whatever seems easier. So the first thing that I would do is I would cut my wire all to length, and then I would start by placing it down onto my design and trying to bend it into shape. Now you can put connectors at the corner or at the spot. So remember when you were drawing this, you had these kind of these major connections, and I did that on here to kind of show you that you can do that. what then you have to do is then you have to consider, okay, if this is a raw edge like this purple one, then I can kind of attach this as one piece. So here's the other thing that you need to do. You need to kind of think about how many strands of wire you want to make. So the more strands of wire you have, the thicker that your lines are going to make when you do this project. So this one, on these large silver sections, I used 10 pieces of wire. And then on the purple section here, I used 5 sections of wire. So you can see that I have, you know, part of this already done. Okay, now you want to do this in sections. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'll show you just a section. So what I did is I went through and I cut all my wire to length. Now, cutting wire to length is pretty easy because this is pretty thin wire. So all you have to do is roll out your wire, and if it's all the same size, then you're going to just kind of put one up to it, and then this wire should all be able to be cut with a scissors, okay, which is pretty easy. All right, so if I did 5 pieces of the purple wire in a section, so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Then I'm going to take these together and I'm going to try and line them up. Now, what you might want to do is you might want to start to kind of bend it so that it's bent out. One of the problems that I had when I did this is attaching it onto your other piece. So what you want to do is you want to attach it with somewhat of the same color. So when I did this piece to attach it on, I made this section and then I attached it on with the same color. So what I did is I cut a small piece, and I'll do that for you. It's kind of arbitrary length, just what you think it might work. I just cut it with my scissors, and then I came back here and I started wrapping the wire around the center. So this is the easiest way to do it. Is just wrap it with your hand. Try and be, you know, as careful as you can and get it as tight as you can. Now, if you do have a needle nose pliers, that's going to help out a little bit more, because then you'll be able to kind of position this where you want. But like I said, this wire is pretty, it's pretty thin, but you could, you know, kind of come back and clean up. Oops. You could come back and clean up some of these edges if you can get in here. Okay, just don't pinch your finger. All right, so once you have this done and we have a connector for the center, then sort of start to think about, okay, well, if this one's already on here and it's this piece on my project, then I need to do the other side. So I would probably start by attaching it in the center. And this is where needle nose pliers comes in handy, because you can just pull it through the back side and get it nice and tight. Okay, so now I've got it tightened up on the back. And then what I would do is I would just wrap it around itself so it stayed, okay? Kind of like that. Then, because I have a design that's pretty involved here in the center, And it might not match completely your project, which is perfectly fine. But what you want to do is you want to kind of bend this into the same pattern that you have. So, and then what I would do is I would just take a piece of that purple wire and I would just wrap that around here. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to build your wire in sections. And like I said, I'm trying to do this the easiest I possibly can without, you having to have a pair of needle nose pliers. If you do have a pair of needle nose pliers or your family does, I would suggest using these. These are a little bit easier. We just didn't have a whole class set to pass out to you when we did supplies. Okay? So what you want to do is you're going to build these pieces in sections and then attach them using other wire. I'll do a final video when this is completely done and we have some of our sections done and how we're going to hang this in a little bit. Okay, good luck.